Well, good morning. It's another week, and another month is also drawing to a close. And we are gearing up for a lively discussion today on the issues that matter most. As usual, this is Current Agenda, where debates run hot and opinions clash. But we respect and we ensure that respect remains the underlying current. This morning, expect robust exchanges, but also know that beneath the surface, mutual respect prevails. Don't miss today's show for anything where the conversation might get heated for any second. Friendships still endure. So let's have that at the back of our mind. Well, what we have today, a firestorm of controversy is brewing over Ghana's Big Push infrastructure program. An investigation by the Fourth Estate Ghana has uncovered alarming procurement practices, alleging that all 107 road contracts awarded so far bypass competitive tendering, with many handled out through sole sourcing. But the Roads and Highways Minister, Governor Kwame Agboja, begs to differ. He claims that only 44% of the contracts were sole sourced, a far cry from the explosive claims. And the minority in Parliament is baying for transparency. They are demanding full disclosure of all contracts and the selection criteria used, putting the spotlight on the Big Push program's credibility. The stakes are high. Transparency, procurement, integrity, value for money, and public trust hang in the balance. Now, beyond infrastructure is another controversy that is stirring us internationally and nationally. That debate, the questions that are being asked about the decision by the Lincoln University regarding an honorary degree linked to Ghana's leadership and the nation's stance on LGBTQ+ issues. This raises a fundamental question. To what extent should external institutions influence or judge the cultural and legislative choices of sovereign states? And where do we draw the line between universal human rights and national identity? When we come back home, the haunting issue of no-bed syndrome has once again resurfaced. Viral videos from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital appear to show patients lying on floors and benches at the emergency and accident unit. While hospital management has dismissed the footage as misleading, doctors have countered that, alleging that the minister's visit was staged to present a different reality. So the critical question remains: how do we bridge the deep gap in Ghana's healthcare delivery system? It's a puzzle that demands answers, and the clock is ticking. This is Current Agenda, your Saturday morning companion. And as usual, we are proudly sponsored by Bank of Africa. Bank of Africa says that it understands all your needs. And this month, as the month of heritage comes to an end, if you need any banking service or any support, or if you need to spend over the weekend, or if you want to visit any tourist site or a place of heritage, Bank of Africa says that they have the solution for you. The Bank of Africa says that its credit card, its Visa card, debit cards are available for you to use anywhere you visit in this country. Visit any Bank of Africa branch and have access to these services. Remember that terms and conditions apply for every service you want. You can reach them on their call center 0302-429-333 or visit any of their branches like I mentioned earlier. You can also go to their website www.boaghana.com and engage Fafa. Remember again, terms and conditions apply. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. We are also sponsored by the National Petroleum Authority, NPA. NPA says that if you suspect that you do not get the right amount of fuel, if you have issues about the quality of fuel you bought, or if you experience bad customer service at any fuel station, you don't need to argue or fight or stress yourself. The NPA is here to assist you. Reach out to NPA on their call center to the number 0302 550 380. I repeat, 0302 550 380. Or feel free to walk into any of their regional offices, or if you are in Accra, you can go to the head office located at Jowulu on the N1 highway and make your complaint. Remember that you have 48 hours to make your complaint. It can be a complaint, it can be an inquiry. If you experience any of the things that I mentioned earlier, 48 hours, make that complaint, report it. NPA, where customer care meets excellence. So this morning on Reflections, I would speak on it's turning out to be a broken plate. It looks like it's a problem that I don't know whether we don't have a solution to, or we are refusing to think beyond and outside the box. This issue of no bed. So the no bed syndrome, system failure, we must confront. That's what I'm speaking on this morning. So the no bed syndrome, as you know, is not just a phrase. It's become part of our parlance now as a people. And now it's a national emergency which is hiding in plain sight. It's a national emergency hiding in plain sight. For years, Ghanaians have been met with the same chorus to the song, the same refrain: no beds available. Up to the point that even the presidency has to now come in. But let's cut through the excuses. It's not only about beds, physical beds. The no bed isn't just about hospital bed. It's about a system that fails its people precisely when the people need it most. Precisely when we need it most is where it fails us. The recent drama at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital has laid bare this harsh reality. Conflicting stories from management, doctors, and witnesses point to a deeper issue. There's a chasm between what's presented and what's real. And that's a deadly gap. What's presented as a situation and what really is the situation. While officials squabble over appearances, patients are waving desperate flags. We've been there before. At the beginning of this year, remember the heartbreaking loss of a young engineer shuttled between hospitals with no one willing to admit. He had to be driven from home, and now it's brought a brutal reality to us that the no bed syndrome is now a death sentence. And I repeat, this no bed syndrome is no longer a cliche, it's now a death sentence. Make no mistake, it's not a lack of medical expertise that's killing Ghanaians. No. I fear to say that Ghana has one of the best medical practitioners or expertise in this country. Our problem is that it's a system failure, and that system is in a disarray. Experts have long highlighted the weak links: chaotic emergency response, creaky referral systems, ambulance shortages, and a crippling cost that stalls urgent treatment. It's time to face the music. The complaint must stop. The blame game must stop. And I'm going to start right here. Stop blaming and start offering and preferring solutions. So what must be done first? Ghana needs a fully integrated national emergency care system. Let me explain what this means. It's a very simple thing. If an ambulance takes a patient, there should be a system that speaks to all hospitals. Right in there, we should be able to see which hospitals have beds, which do not have beds. So now the ambulance, digitally and in real time, is able to see what is happening. The hospitals must be linked in real time so that ambulance services will know exactly where space is available before a patient is even transported. We need to move away from this guesswork You go to this hospital, no bed, then you move, no bed. That is somebody's time being delayed. That is buying time for somebody. If I know that this hospital is the one that is closest and has beds, I move there. This hospital to hospital referrals in critical moments must stop. The second solution I will suggest is to move away from this issue of paperwork first before we treat. Let's move to a system or a policy of treat first, paperwork later. Treat first, paperwork later. If nothing at all, give first aid and sustain life and think about paperwork. In emergencies, no Ghanaian should be asked to pay before receiving life-saving care. Because when they lose their life, no matter the amount of money, it will not bring it back. Like our former president said, we know we can be able to bring an economy back. We can be able to bring our finances back. We can be able to bring our budget back. We cannot bring a life back. Life-saving care is important, and the law must be clear, and the law must be enforced. Nobody should insist on payment before giving critical or emergency situation services. Third, we need to invest not just in infrastructure, but also in patient flow management. And that's key. Some people are in the hospitals, they've been treated because they cannot even pay, they are still there. Beds alone will not solve this problem. Efficient discharge system, step-down facilities, and regional capacity strengthening will ease pressure on major referral hospitals like Kolebu. Well, we know that once we can move you from Kolebu and take you to this other hospital, so we free space at Kolebu for other people to come. We should have that system in place. Fourth, accountability. And this cannot be negotiable. If a life is lost due to systemic failure, there must be transparent investigations, and the consequences must follow. We should stop shielding and covering people and one person dressing a situation and by using baits to buy views and dressing things up. We should move away. Without accountability, reform becomes rhetoric. Without accountability, whatever reforms we speak about becomes rhetoric. So we need accountability. Let's stop putting up appearances and protecting people. Today we sit here, whatever happened at the Ridge Hospital when some nurses were attacked, today we don't know as a people. It's died down when something else has come. We've seen the gentleman concerned on TV sitting in cars saying that people have bought him cars. We see him. Accountability. And so we are emboldening people to do things. The lady who said she was attacked, what has happened? Our system, we need to make people accountable. And we need to make sure that the law takes its full course. Finally, we must confront the issue of truth in our institutions. Truth. When visits are staged, when officials put cameras behind them to come and show the world that what people are complaining is not the issue, what we do is we conceal the reality and we delay solutions. And what we end up doing is that we deepen public mistrust. The provision of the 200 additional beds is welcome and it's a good step. But let us not make a mistake and let us not think that that is a complete solution. Because the truth is simple. And the truth is that this is not just a no bed problem. It is a no system problem. And until we fix that system, deliberately, transparently, and urgently, Ghanaians will continue to face a terrifying question in the moments of crisis. I'll end by putting this question to you watching me, to you listening to me on radio. I'm leaving you with this simple question. If you should fall sick today, will the healthcare system save you? This is Reflections. We'll take a quick break and be back after the break.
back and stay safe. The National Petroleum Authority is cautioning the public to desist from scooping or fetching fuel from overturned fuel tankers at accident scenes. Do not get closer to the scene in an attempt to take videos or pictures. Inhaling the petroleum product is detrimental to your health. Worst of all, petroleum products are volatile and highly flammable, and a small spark can trigger a catastrophic explosion, causing deaths and loss of property. Call the Ghana Fire Service or Ghana Police personnel to handle the scene, or reach the National Petroleum Authority's contact center on 0302 550 380. Your life is worth more than a gallon of fuel. The Save a Life campaign is from the National Petroleum Authority.
For decades, we have helped businesses connect with their trade partners all over the globe. From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries. We have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa. We are indeed the African bank with the global reach.
Welcome back to Current Agenda, proudly sponsored by Bank of Africa and NPA. So I would introduce my guest, and then we'll go straight into our first topic for today. In studio with me to my immediate left, I have Seth Bokwe. He's an associate editor at the Fourth Estate. Seth, good morning, and welcome to Current Agenda. I hope you had a good week.
I did.
Well, Fourth Estate has had a good week.
They've had a
So I can't assume I didn't have a good week. A busy week as well. Right. Next to him is Austin Kwabena Bracco Powers. He's a private legal practitioner. Powers. Good morning.
Good morning.
You've also had a wonderful week.
Yeah, it's been back to back.
Busy back to back.
You can't help it.
Later in the show, we'll talk about your petition to the Supreme Court.
That is
we'll talk about it later. And then to my extreme left, I have Dr. Thomas Anaba. He's the MP for Garu. Honorable.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Good morning, my colleague panelists here.
Oh, yes.
And good morning to the good people of Garu.
Yes. I was going to ask how they are doing. Once you greeted them, they mean they are doing okay.
They are doing well. They finished the Salah now. They are preparing for the Easter.
Right. That's interesting. It's interesting. I think for the first time in many years, there's only a 2-week.
Yeah.
Normally, it takes a bit of time.
So even the fasting virtually started the same day.
The
Ramadan started the same day. I pray that they'll use that one as a lesson to be of good behavior, to love each other, support each other. Right. And let peace prevail, especially in the Kusasi traditional area. So that at least development can go to Garu and also go to the Kusasi traditional area. So we pray for peace this Easter.
Thank you.
The people of Garu.
Right. We would also later be joined by Kwame Owusu-Danso, lawyer. He's the president for Accountability Forum, and he's also a private legal practitioner. So when he comes in, we would introduce him. And we'll be joined via Zoom. Miracles Abuaji, the spokesperson for the Baumia campaign. He would also join us on Zoom. So once he comes also, we would introduce him via Zoom. So we'll start our discussion with the big push controversy, the fourth estate expose, and then what the minority is also saying, what the minister is saying. We'll start with a few video clips. First, we'll start with the minority press conference. Then right after, we'll play also the response from the minister. Then we'll come in studio. We'll start with our fourth estate panel to tell us what this is all about. So let's have a listen.
The minority in Parliament is also raising concerns about funding constraints in the road sector, citing arrears of about 20 billion cedis owed to contractors and delays in payments, which it says have led to the abandonment of more than 80% of road projects across the country.
Had the current government prioritized the continuation and completion of this exiting project, rather than redirecting resources into new road projects such as the Big Push, would have significantly improved connectivity nationwide and maximize returns on already committed public investment. Instead, the apparent shift towards new projects, influenced by partisan considerations and pork barrel politics, has left many critical works unattended. This includes projects that had already reached advanced stages, such as those with first coat surfacing, completed and requiring only final layers upon the release of funds.
The caucus further questioned delays in the implementation of road tolls, the limited release of funds from the Road Maintenance Trust Fund, and the lack of budgetary allocation for roadway development.
The minority is also concerned about the management of the Ghana Road Maintenance Trust Fund, as a situation in the ground reflects deepening financial crisis that requires urgent attention. Current estimates indicate that the road sector is burdened with arrears and outstanding payable of approximately 20 billion under the road fund.
Mr. Speaker, it is important to note that only 44% of all the major contracts included in the Big Push contract were awarded by the ministry under sole sourcing. 44%. So not what has been published by a certain online portal. We have also awarded over 400 different contracts through open competitive bidding, over 400, which is unprecedented because the record shows that from 2017 to 2024, almost all projects that the ministry carried out were sole sourced. Almost all the projects were sole sourced. Mr. Speaker, this is a house of record. Let me state unequivocally that all contracts awarded under the program were done in strict adherence to the Public Procurement Act and its accompanying regulations. Mr. Speaker, all contractual information is publicly available and on the ministry's website. The Big Push roads were identified, or the original Big Push project identified were just 12 major economic corridors across the country, which were christened the 12 disciples. These projects were later broken into 54 lots to foster competition and speed up implementation. Mr. Speaker, additionally, 23 road projects valued at 14.88 billion, which were awarded by the previous administration and abandoned by contractors due to lack of dedicated funding and were absorbed as part of Big Push. These projects were novated to be Big Push.
Okay, so you heard the minority speaking to how the budget is being used, asking that rather than concentrate on new projects, why not finish off what already exists? Why not pay the people that contractors that are owed so they can go on site and finish? Why turn the whole country into a construction site and leave it uncompleted when you can actually finish and then continue or start new ones? After all, governance is a continuum. So that's the minority's position. The minister also comes in to say that what the fourth estate alleges. It's actually not the case. Again, the minister is not saying that they've not sole sourced. He's saying that yes, but the numbers that the Fourth Estate is projecting to be what the situation is, it's not as alarming as they are projecting it to be. And so we are going to come in studio, and Fourth Estate is here. We would find out from Fourth Estate what really is the issue, and then we will take it from there. But before we start with Fourth Estate, maybe we just have to let people understand what sole sourcing is all about. What is it? So I have Powers. I don't know whether he's read into it a bit, but we need to understand it from the point of view of the Act. What does the Act define sole sources? Once we understand that, then we can come to the Fourth Estate to see, okay, so if this is what the law says, what are they doing that is making you think that it's an anomaly? So, Powers, if you can just help us briefly in like 2 minutes, let us understand when we say sole sourcing, what is it? How different is it from the regular procurement practice and all that?
Yes. Well, I think it is important for you to, in fact, situate the conversation, because your audience and the viewers need to understand what single sourcing is, or sole sourcing is, as we also call it. The thing is that when you look at the Public Procurement Act 2003, Act 663, specifically from sections 34 down to 43, it provides the various methods of procurement, and one of which is competitive tendering. In fact, it must be understood that the default means of procuring services and goods in this country is a competitive tendering. That is the default. It means that by all standards, you must make sure that if you are procuring any goods or services, it must be open to all manner of companies for you to determine who qualifies. Right. However, when you come to section 40, it provides for single sourcing, or what we call sole sourcing procurement process. And that is the exception. So section 40, in fact, says that you must at all times resort to the default, which is a competitive tendering. But in exceptional circumstances, you must use sole sourcing. And the law is very, it limits the circumstances under which you will use single sourcing. And it has to do with when there's exclusive right to the goods, when the company has exclusive rights to the goods, works or services. Right. It means that in Ghana, if the company is the only company that has the right to sell or trade in that particular commodity, then you can resort to what? The single sourcing or sole sourcing. 2, where a reasonable alternative or substitute does not exist. Right. So it fits into the first one. So where a reasonable alternative does not exist. Then the third one is where there is an urgent need for the goods. In fact, this is a major one. Where there's an urgent need. Do we urgently need it? And if we urgently need it, is it a case for sole sourcing, or is it a case for competitive tendering? Don't forget that when the thing is in urgent demand, when you resort to the competitive tendering, you will not achieve your objective. And the fourth thing is when any other method is impracticable. In other words, where the competitive tendering, we have 2-stage tendering. Those methods and other methods are what? Impracticable. Right. So, Kojo, sole sourcing is not the norm. It's an exception. Don't forget that in law, we always say that we have a general rule and we have the exception. Yeah. So the general rule, we have the competitive tendering, we have the 2-stage tendering, and other processes. But in exceptional circumstances, which I have said, where the company has exclusive right to the goods or works or services, a reasonable alternative that does not exist, urgent need for the product, and any other method, including the competitive tendering, are impracticable. Right.
Okay. So let me ask again, because I hear you use 2 terminologies. Yes. And I'm speaking as somebody who at least have gotten some understanding of procurement. I hear you use 2 terminologies. Single sourcing and sole sourcing. Are they the same?
Yes, they are. You can use them interchangeably. Yes. Okay. So in other words, they are just single sourcing and sole sourcing are just they are referable to one entity. So it means that it's a process open to only one entity. You get it? So you can use them interchangeably.
Okay. I'm asking because in my understanding, okay, I mean the section under 41 that you read, procurement entity may engage in single source procurement under section 41 with the approval of the board, and it states all the things that you have said. My understanding of sole sourcing and single sourcing always has been the fact that when it comes to single sourcing, like you explained, there are a lot of vendors who offer, but you are choosing to give to one. And it happens for various reasons. It can be because you want to build a partnership. It can be because, like you said, agency and all that. My understanding of sole sourcing has always been that there are no other options available. These people are the only ones who have a patent to that. And so even though the two are used interchangeably, practically and professionally on the ground, we draw that distinction when it has to do with patenting. So if I'm the only person if I'm the only one who produces a particular brand of a laptop, and you want to buy the original, you because you can't go and get it from anywhere else. But if I'm buying from your retail shops, then I can choose that I'm going to this particular one, because even though there are options, but because of partnership, because somebody wants to give me after sales service and all that, I'm using single sourcing. So professionally on the ground, there's a slight distinction, even though in law. So that's it.
So there may be some little nuances. But our law recognizes them as one.
Yes.
You get it because of the characteristics that they both share.
Right.
You get it.
Right. Good. So then now let me come to Seth. So Seth, what's the issue? I mean, it's not like the law permits for us to do single or sole sourcing. The law permits that in issues or instances where there's urgency, in instances where it's exigent, you can't go. So what's the issue? Why are we here?
Thank you very much. I think the basic issue is with the current administrations, officials of these current administrations, past rhetoric on sole sourcing. We have been told in the past that sole sourcing should be the exception and not the norm, as the law says, and Austin also mentions. Now, if you listen to the president's last two SONA, he made it explicit that sole sourcing should not be the norm. Under exceptional circumstances, should we be opting for sole sourcing as a way of procuring goods and services for the state? And he mentions value for money. And it's the reason we've actually passed the value for money bill.
Yes.
If you listen to the president last SONA, he was clear that they were going to introduce a law that will ban sole sourcing. Right?
Yeah.
Now, riding on this rhetoric, we wrote to the Ministry of Roads and Highways, asking them to give us data on the big push. And let me make it clear that under no circumstance are we saying the big push is a terrible policy. We are not condemning it. It's a very good project to, transform our road sector, very ambitious one. We applaud it. But then, if you tell the public in the past that sole sourcing in the road sector was horrible, there's no justification for it today. Now, I have listened to the minister speak about our work in Parliament, and I cringed. Because a lot of the things he put out there was not true. They were not factual. There were a lot of inaccuracies in what he said. Now, let's begin. He said that they have awarded over 400 projects.
Yes.
Now, we asked for projects under big push. And we were given 115 road projects, including projects from the past administration. Now, we decided that no, we were going to look at projects awarded by this administration. So that comes to 107. So we focus on the only 107 projects. Now, they say book no lie. This is 196 projects from the. This is 96 projects from the roads and highways. If you can have a look at that.
Right.
This is 16 from urban roads. You can do the maths, my brother. And you can. This is 3 from feeder roads.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
Now, if you do the analysis of that data, I told you that we actually exempted the previous administration 8 because those contracts were not awarded under So we decided that we will exempt them.
Right.
Because they clearly captured that 2024. They captured the date there as 2024. So we decided not to focus on them. Now, when we did our analysis, sole sourcing was 81. Selective tendering, 26.
So selective tendering can be like restricted. Yes, okay.
26. Competitive bidding, 0. So when the minister went to Parliament and said, we awarded over 400 contracts, and most of it was on competitive bidding, it's not true. The data does not say so. Unless, of course, he decided, or his ministry decided to be selective in giving us what we asked for.
Okay.
And that is actually a crime under the RTI.
So let me. So I hear two statements.
Yes.
You are speaking specifically to Big Push.
To Big Push, we asked for. It's unfortunate that I don't have the request. Okay. I would have given you the request.
Okay. But is it possible?
What we specifically asked for is Big Push.
Right.
Data on Big Push.
Right.
If I'm speaking contrary to what we asked for, anyone from the ministry can contribute.
Okay. But is it possible the 400 the minister is speaking to is all contracts in general? Maybe. Because if you hear him, he was emphatic. They've awarded 400 good contracts.
If he's responding to work that a journalist has done, he should speak to the facts in the story. Right? Not the facts available to him in his ministry.
Okay.
Do you get it?
Okay.
The fact in the story.
Right.
And the fact says you awarded 107 contracts. 81 of them were through sole sourcing, 26 selective, and 0 competitive bidding. Now, in the ministry's attempts to probably, discredit our story, they rushed to put data online. Right? They put 54 of the contracts online, and I think it's very funny. I'm saying it's funny because our story was about sole sourcing. When you rush and put that data online, you should tell the public, right, what exactly the procurement method was. They omitted it. Kojo, this is the data they put online. There's my account my tree goes on holidays on Saturdays.
Let me share with my producer so they can also show it on the screen.
They can project.
If you have my producer's number, so you can just share it with him.
Yes. About 54 of them. That 54, not a single procurement method was mentioned.
So they just mentioned the name of
They just mentioned the road project, the cost, the kilometers, and so on. They didn't tell the public the procurement method. Why were they hiding that? You are fighting us about the procurement method we were talking about. That our story says it was based on sole sourcing. You are putting the information out there to clear the public's mind, right? So you should add that, you should add the data to it. But they did not. Now, if you even do an analysis of the data, because they omitted that, what we have done is to spend time to find every single one of these road projects on the data they gave us. Right. Now, that analysis shows that 47 out of the 54 were sole sourcing. That's about 87%. Selective tendering, 13%. No competitive bidding. So what is he talking about? Now, I don't think it is fair for public office holders to misconstrue the work of journalists to mean an attack on their institutions. If anything at all, we are bringing a certain level of credibility to your work. Transparency, accountability. Because you are holding our public purse, right? As journalists, we are also taxpayers. The public can come and ask you questions about what you are doing. Because we know that by default or by design, the work of public office is opaque. It will take a journalist to throw the light on it. So when we begin throwing the light on it, you don't go to Parliament and be using those unprintable words that we fabricated data. How did we fabricate data? The good thing is that the data is out there. We've put it out there for the public to access. I don't know how we'll be able to cook how many kilometers of roads the ministry is constructing. Fellas, I'll share the data with you so that you can project it. I think it's unfair for the minister to go to Parliament and use those words on our work. And the same minister goes on Joy FM PM Express and said they awarded 139 projects. So which is which? Why the contradictions? You told Parliament that you did 400. Parliament is a house of records. You told them 400 roads. You told Joy 139. And our records show what you awarded was 107. Which is the truth? Our truth is the data he has given us, and that is what we presented to the public. And now there are other issues that we need to address as well. When you look at even the data on cost per kilometer, we are not experts. We will not claim to be experts on the road sector. And we have spoken to the experts who told us that, well, you cannot, just by looking at the figures, conclude that there has been anything untoward.
Yeah.
But then, Kojo, if you have the Cape Coast, luckily, we've done all the analysis here. If you look at the dualization of the Cape Coast Takoradi Road, cost per kilometer per a particular lot, they divided it into lots. It's 154 million. Yes, 154 million. That's over $10 million per kilometer.
Wow.
I'm not an expert. We have mentioned it that we are not an expert. But just by looking at the figures, because we have done digging in the past from the past administration's figures about what constitutes cost per kilometer on roads, and it doesn't even reach 2 million. I agree. There's inflation. There's the exchange rate. We have accounted for it and all that. But looking at these figures, we should be asking questions. We should be demanding accountability for why we are spending that much on a kilometer of road. We should be. There are others that are about 80 million. There are others that are about 79, 45. What accounts for the variation? Significant variations. We have been told topography, the scope of work, and all that. We agree. But that numbers demand answers. And then also, we have been told that the president actually said this, that they will not be giving contract to wheelbarrow contractors, right? Meaning you need to have capacity. And that capacity includes staff capacity. There's one company that I won't mention names, we are working on that. That one company that has been giving a contract that has only one staff. And this is a company that had a multi-million CD contract. Right? One, from its needs clearance certificate, it says it has one staff. Another has 4 staff on its books. I've spoken to an auditor who said, no, that should not be.
Let me get clarity on it. Okay, so your conclusion that it has one staff is because of the social security details?
Because it's for a reason that you will be asked to provide that. Right? That's what the auditor told me. Right. It's for a reason. That they want to find your capacity. What is your capacity to deliver? If for nothing at all, you need to have administrative staff. Those are core staff. It's admitted that you hire casual people who will do the groundwork, the field work. You need to have, in some cases, you need to have engineers. Right? So if you will need engineers and you have one staff, I can show you. No, I don't need to show you. I can actually show you that. I can just show you that. I can just show
so
you.
If the company hears and thinks that is correct, they keep quiet.
Exactly. They can also react.
They can also react.
Because I'm asking because in employment, we have what we call contract for employment and contract of employment. Where one, you can outsource a whole service, but they are not your employees.
Directly.
So you can actually outsource every single function. You can outsource your human resource function, accounting function, procurement, every aspect.
Every aspect.
And those ones, you only pay them from your expense side. And so that's the reason why I wanted to understand how we came to the conclusion.
To the expenditure pattern of that company to see whether it's paying some companies for.
So that's why I wanted to understand when you say there are no staff, where exactly you got the information. If it's from Smith,
you see,
and when
you bid for a contract, you will be asked to add your
the staff strength, and those things.
You'll be asked to add your state clearance and all those things. Does it mean that when this company was applying for the contract, this contract was actually competitive bidding?
Okay.
3 companies were shortlisted. So it means among the 3, this company which had
they were suitable
or found the most suitable, and that employee is probably the owner of who?
No, so I think Honorable and Kojo raise legitimate questions. Beyond that, and as you were said, when you are bidding, you submit a list of your employees.
Yes.
And if they have persons who are contractors, they may submit same. And don't forget that if you base only on the SNIT report or your facts from the SNIT, you may not get the clearer picture. Because even there are some companies that have huge number of staff or employees, but they don't pay. They don't pay their SNIT contribution. So let's try and look at the variety of
other factors. What is their track record? Let's ask of the company's track record. That would be very important. If you have their track record and it is not good, then that is where you say if they have no track record at all, then you know that then they just brought them in. When were they registered? When were they registered?
So I get where it's
evaluating a company based on document it presents for a contract.
That was not sole sourcing. That was not sole sourcing.
Restrictive.
No, it's restrictive. 3 companies.
I mentioned that the selective or restricted allows them to pre-select,
to prune the number.
Prune the numbers and pre-select the numbers they want.
Right. Among the several.
Okay. But just 1 minute. Okay. So I get your point, and I agree with you 100%. It raises some questions.
Yes.
But again, did we go beyond to try and understand what is the evaluation criteria? Because you see, maybe the criteria for evaluation, number of employees is just 1% weight compared to the rest. Maybe credibility is 70%.
That I did mention.
So yes, so maybe those things also.
This auditor I spoke to mention that it is possible for them to recruit. What's the name?
Contractors.
Others.
Yes.
To do the work. But have you also heard that there are organizations that go and bid for contracts and then sell it?
Yes.
Or outsource. Debate on that.
Do you understand? I'm raising.
It's called outsourcing.
No, sir. No.
Okay, no. If you can prove it,
selling. No, you win a contract based on your capacity.
Yes.
You can't go and sell that contract. You are giving that contract based on your capacity. Have we forgotten the ABA? Do you remember the ABA?
I remember.
Yes.
It's the same issue I'm raising.
No. That hasn't occurred this time.
I'm not saying that this is what the company is.
Right.
But I'm saying that
we have had situations in the past.
Okay, right.
Where we've had companies.
There's a reset now. It can't happen.
The research says
the research you are mentioning is not resetting because the research says there will be no sole sourcing. Sole sourcing will be exceptional, but it's now the norm.
So I think it's good you are raising some questions, and for indulging you are raising questions.
Yeah.
But currently let's deal with the matters.
Yes.
And the matters do not bother on sale of contract and other things. Those ones.
I know it's a peripheral issue.
Let's not that building. Let's settle on the substance.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So Seth,
yes, sir.
Back to you. I think you were making a point before we came back. So what's the real issue? Is the real issue the fact that the president, and I'll get my team to play that audio of the president. Yes, saying that, in fact, let's have the video before I ask Seth that question. The video of our president speaking on sole sourcing.
Procurement to encourage competition, competitive bidding, and enhance public transparency in the procurement processes.
Single source procurement must be the rare exception rather than the norm. We must also subject government projects above a certain threshold to value for money audits. But that is government bleeding, everybody cutting their pound of flesh. That must stop.
Mr. Speaker,
We are bringing legislation to this House to tighten our procurement processes by banning sole source contracts, except in exceptional circumstances.
And let it be known, the era of the sole source contract is dead. The value for money of it.
So yes, so these are video put together by the Fourth Estate. So credit to them. But it's obvious, and you've heard from the leadership of Parliament, the majority side, at the same time from the President, what was said. It's interesting sometimes when you hear politicians when they say it and how they still create a bit of gap. So the President said that there will be a ban on sourcing. Then he just ends and said, except in exceptional. So he puts in that small. I don't know why we do that, but anyway. So Seth, back to you. So what is the issue? Is it an issue that the President, or what is happening now, departs from what the President said? That is where you are bringing attention to, or you think we could have gotten better value for money if we had done competitive tendering, which would mean that you probably would have a certain bill of quantities benchmark that you are using to compare, to say that, well, if we had done it, we could have gotten this for 150,000 rather than the 350,000 we are talking about.
Okay, that's a very good question. Now, you see, public office must come with a certain level of integrity, honesty. If you condemn a certain action in the past as not being sustainable, as not giving us value for money, in 2021, Mr. Gavin Saboja, as a ranking member on the Roads and Transport Committee, said that the reason we are not getting value for money, or we are not constructing more roads, is because of sole sourcing. What has changed today? What has changed today? If Mr. Agboja had told the country that we are sorry, what we said in the past was not practical. If he had told the country that we are doing sole sourcing because we thought that it will give us value for money, right? We would have listened. If Mr. Agboja, when he went to Parliament, had told the country that he did sole sourcing, we would have, okay, he's been honest. But what his rhetoric in Parliament, in reaction to our story, his rhetoric in the past do not match. Right? We worked on data his ministry provided us, and that data shows that 87%, if even we are going by only 54 contracts, he claims that his administration awarded 87% of it. Match that against the president's rhetoric. Match that against the majority leader's rhetoric. Right? Austin just read the Public Procurement Act, the details of it to you, the various sections to you. And clearly, sole sourcing should not be default. Right? The president said it's exceptional, not the norm. The thing about what we also learn about the cost of roads is that every year the ministry's engineers actually cost every road, and this cost is submitted to the finance ministry. The finance ministry then does an authorization letter. Now, if you put this benchmark value down, then you invite bids, right, yes, on the contract. You may get it lower. Where it is higher, you negotiate. But let's ask ourselves, is that what has been done?
But we have that approved bill of quantities from the ministry.
It exists. We are working on it for another story, so I wouldn't want to go on into it.
Interesting.
Some of those values match the exact value of this.
Exact.
Yes.
To a peswa.
To a peswa, to the dot.
Interesting.
Yes. So we should be asking ourselves, are we getting value for money? I've said it from the beginning that I'm not a contractor. I'm not a road engineer. I'm not an expert in roads. But when I speak to experts, some of the things they tell me, some of the things they tell the team, is that some of these values in the contracts we have should be questionable. We should be asking questions about them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So beyond the sole sourcing issues, and then the issues about what we were told in the past and what is being done now, there's also questions about value for money that we need to discuss.
Okay. And you're saying that the value for money, there will be subsequent information on that one. Okay.
We have actually published the cost per kilometer for every road that has been awarded on our list. We've done that.
Okay. Yeah. That's fine. Gary MP, we are told that in opposition, you had all the big talk.
Yeah.
Everything you saw wrong with the previous administration in terms of sole sourcing, and all the things you said on campaign platforms, even in government, all the things that you said you are not going to do in terms of sole sourcing or in terms of procurement. Fourth Estate says that when they put your government to, or your party in government to, the credibility and integrity test, it's shameful, because 100%.
They didn't use the word shameful. I didn't hear that.
If it's honorable, if it's 100 out of 100%,
you are adding words to them.
I'm garnishing.
I didn't get adjectives to them.
Okay, it's worrying.
Yeah. Okay.
It's worrying, because if you pick 100% of the 107 contracts that were given under the big push, and we are sticking to big push.
Yeah, big push.
81, right? 81 was sole source. And then the remaining 26 selective, which technically is a bigger brother of sole sourcing. So what it means is that there was nothing competitive about this whole process. We know who we want to give to, giving it to the person. That's not what you promised us.
Thank you very much. Good morning once again to my brothers, Seth, for his elaborate explanation about what their findings are. I think we need CSOs, we need the public to scrutinize all activities, expenditure of government. And if they are doing it right and it complies with our laws, then what we need to really look at is whether there's value for money. I heard the minority press statement they made, press conference they made, that there was an arrears of 20 billion. We left and we are not paying contractors. Most of those contracts they are talking of are part of the current big push and road contracts that have been awarded. And remember, the government decided to do an audit of all debts that the previous government left for us to ascertain the veracity before they make payment, or before they commit for them to continue. Remember that. And recently we were here, we're analyzing some of the contracts that were shoddily done. Some have not done at all, and they have taken monies.
Right.
Example is the Savilugu Walwale route that they have already taken almost $30 million.
I think I even saw it in the
without doing a single kilometer of route. But those projects now, those that have passed the test, are being ruled on again by this government. So we couldn't just pay money, 20 billion to people without ascertaining it. It is obvious that you take a new company, you take a company to run, a new CEO, you must verify all the debts, the liabilities that your predecessor left for you. So it's not that government is refusing to pay companies. Government must ascertain. And besides that, they know that they left no money. And we have to raise the money. So contractors that had problems with their payments, I can tell you there's one in Garu, he has gone back. They've asked him to go back. They are verified, he's fine. He's there continuing. And that is fair. So that press conference that they made about 20 billion no paying contractors, to me, I don't see it to be a valid thing. They are only telling Ghanaians what debt they left for us. And that is it. But when I come to my brother here, Seth, if you analyze all what he said, it's all about holding the administration because of rhetorics.
No. So, okay, let him
I've not finished.
You can note your point.
And at the end, he added some discrepancies in value for money, where he thinks that some road contracts are overpriced, and that he made us to understand that some contractors are able to quote, these are the 3 things I got from him, are able to quote exactly the same amount that the ministry's engineers have quoted, have assessed that contract to be valued, which is very serious to me. If you say that a contractor has bidded for a contract which is the same amount, exactly the same amount, that our engineers in the ministry,
it suggests insider
trading. It suggests insider trading. Who is trading? Who is handling those documents? Is it the minister or the engineers? Who is the head of the tender in the ministry? Is it the minister? You remember the last time we came here and we spoke about how civil servants are doing things that are incriminating politicians. So this, we have to now, you can petition for them to scrutinize to see who leaked that information to them. If you suspect that there was a leak of information, but not to blame the politician who is sitting there. The politician has a lot of oversight to do. How can he give, how naive is a minister to say, oh, you are my contractor, take this, and then go and quote the same thing? Even if we give it to them, let's be honest, they won't quote the same thing. They will vary certain things. But to come with the same thing, that one there, to me, is exceptional and a complete naivety about that contractor. Even if they stole the record, the data for him. But let me go to the big push and the issues of sole sourcing. I think the most important thing we have to ask ourselves is whether big push is legal or illegal. The sole sourcing is legal or illegal. And I think my brother here did a good job for us. It's not a bad thing. It is legal. It is approved by our laws in this country that you can do sole sourcing. And he gave several parameters, about 4 parameters, why we should do sole sourcing. And there was one important parameter he gave that I think the government is relying on. Agency. Agency. If you really want to look at the big push in total, it is like a structural policy that is coming to quickly eliminate the troubles we have in our major roads in Ghana that will facilitate transportation of goods and persons from one place to the other. And that previous way of handling them has cost Ghana a lot of money. At the beginning of this government, the minister came to Parliament and told us, and the finance minister also emphasized on it, we are not going to give a contract to any company to start work if we don't have the resources, the money available for him to start the work. And if we want to take this big push project, which is handling over 81 critical projects, we want to go with them by the normal tendering steps to award them. I think 2028 will come and complete, and perhaps we haven't seen a bulldozer on any of the routes. No, I think, and remember that some of these projects that they are talking about were already on contract. That's one other critical important thing.
I think they've distinguished that those ones were 8. The ones 107
yes.
are new ones that were contracted by this government.
Right.
It was 115.
Yes.
But they've taken out the 8 that they inherited from the previous administration. So these are fresh contracts.
See, there are reasons why, the minister said there are reasons why we have so many contracts given out. They could have given the project to fewer contractors. But he explained that they had to give it to several contractors to ensure that they expedite the process. they expedite the process in ensuring that they complete the work within time to avoid excuses from contractors for their delay. And they also look at capacities to give so that every contractor starts at the same time and complete at the same time. And the good thing is that they are not giving it as a very big contract to a Ghanaian contractor who may not have the capacity to run the whole thing and to go to a foreigner. They also did it deliberate to ensure that the Ghanaian contractors they are pulling in to develop them, to let them also gain credibility, have the capacity to do the portions or the lots that they are giving them. And there are already registered contractors in this country who are working. I want Fourth Estate to provide us a list of the contractors and tell us which of them hasn't got the capacity to execute the contract that they have given him. They have the capacity because the president said no wheelbarrow contractor would get a job for a big push.
Right.
See, if you go to section 40, it is completely clear that all the process are legal. Simply because if the process, the request went to PPA for sole sourcing, an entity that the government has established by law to look into requests for single sourcing or sole sourcing or competitive restricted tendering, and PPA looks at it and says that the request made by government to sole source this meets at least one of the 4 criteria for sole sourcing, you don't have to blame the government. But most important thing is that the reliance on a rhetoric cannot override the importance of speedily developing our country road network. Reliance on rhetorics cannot override the speed at which we want to develop the road network of this country to save Ghanaians. My sister in Garu selling wache by the route does not care whether the road was given on sole sourcing or competitive tender or restricted tender to clear the dusty route for her to sell her clothes by the route or her wache by the clothes. If the PPA approves it, look, it's a dead case. If the PPA comes out to say, oh, after this contract we didn't approve it, please, you can take government to anywhere, to the garbage, to the dustbins. Yes, I will support you. But if PPA, an entity that we have established and given them criteria for allowing sole sourcing, look, take it to the garbage. Look, the president never, and I'll repeat it, never said he was going to scrap sole sourcing. He said he was going to stop the abuse of sole sourcing. Has he abused sole sourcing? Prove that.
107 out of 107 is not abuse.
That is for the big push, the big projects. It was not all the road contracts. It's not all the road contracts in Ghana. It's the big push that we want to solve the transportation issue, the road network issue,
so in other words,
which is a very...
It's an agency.
Don't you like to ride on a very high-speed lane from here to Kumasi in 2.5 hours? And your truck will not spoil. Your car will be cruising at the maximum velocity with comfort.
You like speed?
Would you like to move from Sunyani to Wa within 2 hours on a very good road? No potholes. And you can relax in your car with your wife smiling at you. Would you like to drive from Wa to Bolgatanga within 1 hour? Now they are doing 6 hours. And retarding man-hour time. Look, we are wasting man-hour time traveling in Ghana. From here to Tamale, use 18 hours. 18 good hours. Sitting in a car, which is dangerous to our health. Your spine will get problem. You get blood clot in your feet. Some of them even travel and get to Accra and their legs are swollen. This is very important. So it needs some urgency. And that is where the PPA found that clause in section 40, very important and vital, that we have to approve it. It is not all road contracts in Ghana that were given under sole sourcing. It is not the sole sourcing that we saw under other government, that the one who was even giving the sole sourcing was giving it to himself. These are Ghanaian contractors who are from both sides and neutrals. Go and check their background. Eventually, all the contractors in Ghana now belong to the two sides. The Accra Temamoto Way. He got the contract under the previous government. Have they cancelled it? Government hasn't cancelled any of the contracts that were awarded under the previous government. He has allowed them to continue. What he has done in some of them is that we let you add other people to work on it very fast. What they have done is that their money is now ready. We've given you time to finish. If you do up to this point within this time, you come for your money. It's not that they are now going to look for the money, and when they don't get, the road deteriorates. And you come back and say, okay, I'm going to continue now that you have paid me, but there is deterioration. Pay for the deterioration. That is what Minister Agoja said, that government said that the delays in payment is making us to even pay 3 times the cost of the road, because they have to go back and start afresh. This time, you are not going back to start afresh. And you are also going to do the road. Several people will be given lots, and you must complete it within this time. If you are not completing within the time, we'll also take you up. So the issue of government said he was not going to do sole sourcing. If even they said they will not do sole sourcing, at least government have vowed to have lean government, and they've come and appointed several government and apologized to Ghanaians. But Mahama didn't say that. If honorable leader Mahama Ayariga said that they were going to abolish it, that is not John Dramani Mahama and then the party. The party's position in our manifesto was that we were going to stop the wanton abuse of sole sourcing. How many contracts so far has been given in the whole of Ghana since we came to power? Since we came to power, and how many were sole source? Even cooking, building a small road in my village, Garu, was sole source in Accra. The Garu Town Road was sole source in Accra. But the current one, we have made him to go back and continue, though it was sole source to him at that time. So let's not fixate ourselves on the big push, which is a very important salvation coming to save Ghana, that we want to complete it within 2 years, maximum 3 years, that we should go through the normal bidding processes, tendering processes, and take 1 year to get a contractor, take 1 year to get the mobilization, and take 1 year for him to start. I think this process is good and clean. And if you talk of value, value for money has nothing to do with the process of awarding the contract. They are two different things altogether. The awarding of the contract through sole sourcing is a what? It's a procurement tool. But the value for money, that they are arguing that there are some roads that they are very expensive, they have inflated them. I have also conversed with some engineers who know road construction. And they've told me that they have looked at it and they are realizing that they are consistent with international benchmarks. Depending on the topography, depending on the nature of the soil, depending on the equipment the contractor have to invest to construct them. Look at this small overhead they are doing at Temamoto Way here. Have you seen the big machine that they brought to put there? If they tell you the cost alone, the contractor has the right to ask for heavy money because it is going to involve a lot of expenditure. So these big push roads that they are going to contract, they are not going to pass on normal terrain of gravel. Some of them are going to pass on very dumpy roads that you need to contract with Total. So once he accepts that he's not an engineer, I am also not a building engineer. We've all conversed with engineers. My engineers who have conversed with are telling me the rates are consistent with international benchmarks. And worst of all is that we are even at a disadvantaged position simply because the equipment you need to bring here, you have to transport them. But the big countries, they have them in their country. So our costs may even go high. I always tell people, if you want to do comparison, it's only the labor side that we may have some advantage. But in terms of equipment to bring to construct, we need to buy them from outside, come and pay taxes for them. Okay. So to me, all what they have said is because of condemnation of rhetorics. And I want to insist, let's not put above rhetorics over the importance of the big push, which is coming to transform the road network of the country to facilitate transportation and the rest. Okay.
So, Honorable, I have a few questions for you. I know Seth has written plenty, but I'll come to him later. I have a few questions for you. Now, just as you said, majority of what Seth said was grounded on the rhetoric.
Yeah.
Majority
you said three things, yeah.
Yes. Majority of what you said is also founded on the basis of urgency.
Yeah.
And that's how come you think that if they did some or did not do competitive tendering, it was okay. Our 2025 budget was approved in March. In fact, Parliament approved it on 28th March.
Yeah.
It was read, I think, on 25th or something like that, but it was approved on 28th March. In that budget, there was an amount of 13.8 million capex allocated to Big Push. Right. If you check the budget statement on page 15 and page 71 before you go into the expense sheet, it's there. I'm going through the period of awarding contracts from what he's done here. And some of them...
This is actually a document from the ministry.
Yes.
This analysis is separate.
Okay.
This is actually a document from the ministry.
So this is the ministry's document, right? Now the ministry, I'll pick one. In fact, some contracts were awarded December 2025.
Yeah.
Which is clearly 9 months after.
Yeah.
Even so, sourcing is taking 9 months to do. Are we saying that within 9 months we could not have done a competitive budget if we really wanted to do it?
How many were all the contracts?
No, I mean, now that
No, I'm asking you.
We can't say if it was done by sourcing, we can't say how many.
You see,
nobody
you have several contracts to prepare and give them out to awards.
We are on the basis of your argument. Agency.
Yes.
So we deal with those who are agents and deal with those who are usual.
Yes.
Agents is Big Push.
Yes.
We want to drive on a 2-hour road from Sunyani to, and I'll be with my wife. I'm using your words.
Yes.
In a car with no potholes.
Yes.
I can do cruise control. So I know this is urgent.
Yeah.
My budget has been approved in March.
Yes.
And I know that this is urgent.
Yes.
I want to get this done before 2028.
Yeah.
Because all the contracts here are terminating 2028.
Right.
Yet, I sit and still do sourcing, but I even end up giving the contract in December.
You see, you don't sit.
No, I mean...
You are saying, you see, that is where you come. That is where I have the problem. You say you are sitting 400 and something contracts.
And which one are 400 and something? Big pushes are not 400.
What is it? 107 7 contracts.
Yes.
And the amount involved.
Yes.
You don't want them to scrutinize it well before they give it out.
So that's the point. So if you want to...
It's all part of it. You have to analyze and really get your quotations for them well before you ask the people to bid. We didn't come to government as a continuity. We came and took over a government. And we have to do analysis and assessment of the Temamoto Way, of the Fanko Road, of the Kumasi Swami Interexchange, and all the other roads that were already on contract. And the ones that we were going to give, now that we came to power, we have to do that assessment. We were not in government. So we have to work on all these roads that we are giving on contract. We couldn't do it in 1 month. We have to package them. The process of packaging them is tedious. And that is why they have the problem. That's why they're inflated. So if we don't package them, how do we award it? We have to package first and now see whether we should now award. And we package and finish and realize that if we want to use the normal tendering process, it will take us a long time. We have people who already have the tools. We have people who have track record with the ministry. The ministry has track record. Don't you have some people here, when you want to discuss a case, you straight away call them to come and sit here? Don't you have them? Don't you have them as a studio? You have people who are competent in certain analysis, in certain issues in the country. When you want to debate, you don't now sit and be asking yourself, who should we call? You know, call this guy. And Ghana, we have something that is a poor road network. When we want to expedite its development, then we have already proven track record contractors. Why do you want to go and prolong the process the more? So the time lapse is not because we were sitting down, like you said. They were working on it to package them before they now announce for it to be bidded. And if you finish and you see the time is going, we're left with 3 months. We're awarded in November. How many months?
Some August, some December.
Yes. So if we have only 4 months left in the year to finish, and we have not packaged them, should we go on the normal, the usual? No.
Yeah. Okay. So I think.
The processing and packaging it is a problem. It's an issue.
1 minute, if you allow me.
Yeah.
An expense budget has been allocated for 2025 budget year.
Yeah.
And you are supposed to spend 13.8.
Yeah.
For Big Push.
Yes.
And if all your contracts, in fact, the earliest from here is August.
Yeah.
That is the earliest, just 1 or 2 of them. In fact, not August, September.
The first contract was.
What it means is that the last quarter of the year,
yeah,
it's where this 13.8 is supposed to be spent.
Yeah.
Technically, that's what it means.
Yeah.
Because ordinarily in accounting terms, we do not advise for you to roll over expense to the next year. You need to, unless there's commitment.
Yeah.
Unless agreement has been signed and then there's commitment, and now you can decide to do accruals for the next year.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
So the point I'm making is that if it is urgent, and I see you bringing all those things. Yes, the audit of motorway and all those things, they are well supposed to be done. That's why the ministry is not just one person. It's a whole place made up of people, experts. If we think our problem is human capacity, and for that reason we cannot get work done, then let's improve our capacity. Because we can't always hide behind these things and then be doing this to us ourselves.
Let me tell you one other.
Let me tell you. Then I'll come back to. I'm just introducing since I told that he would come. So we've been joined on Zoom by Miracles Abuaje. Miracles, good morning.
It's volume.
Good morning, bro.
How are you doing?
Morning to many years studio. We're good. God has been good too.
Right.
We're fine.
Am I very audible at your end? It feels like there's a bit of a delay. Okay, right.
You are very audible. I don't know if I am at your end,
yes,
but
you are too. Okay, right. So I'll come back to you right after I'm done in the studio. Okay, Honorable, please. And
there's a delay, yes, in awarding the contract. We people expect that the moment we read the budget, the following day we should give the contract. No. We can't do that. One, there's a new style now by government. You must have commitment authorization, and the money must be lying there before the contract is given. Remember, we are going to collect taxes for 2025. Understand? And if we hadn't collected the taxes, and you rush to give authorization for them to start, the contractor goes 3 months and bring his, how do they call it? Certificates. And the finance minister says, I don't have money. He goes to sit down, the road deteriorates. Then when you now pay him, he comes to start, he says, I'm starting from afresh. That money you gave to him is gone. The prudent way of ensuring that we don't waste too much money in our road construction now is the commitment authorization by the finance minister. The road minister can give you the contract only if the finance minister said, yes, the money we have earmarked for these roads are ready and lying. Go ahead. That is one of the reasons why it could delay. Besides the processes of packaging the roads, the money must also be available sitting for the contractor, because they are also warning the contractor that the moment you get the contract, execute it within the time, because the money is going to flow according to the timelines we have given you. And every inspection we come, you must meet the target that we have given you. So all these processes can delay it, because money, we didn't inherit money and came to sit. You remember the budget was a proposal, their estimates. And if the minister is not seeing the flow to meet that, that is why we can come to the mid-year and review the budget. So contracts were being packaged, money was being sought to ensure that the money is lying down before a letter is given. Let's applaud the finance minister and the road minister for taking that step, because it will save us a lot. It will save us because roads were consuming almost all our money without roads being contracted. Roads were consuming our money without roads being constructed. You remember how many years of road we had? 3 years of roads. But Garu Road is still lying there. The Walwale Savilgu Road is still lying there. The Bolga Pulmakum is still lying there, uncompleted. Because you give contract, you don't get the money. Now they have deteriorated. We have to come and award contracts again. So the policy that we must have the money lying for you to get commitment authorization before you start can also cause a delay. And we shouldn't see that delay to be a problem. So far, the contracts have started. So let's applaud government for doing a prudent job with that.
Okay, thank you. Austin, should I do you before, or I should allow the politicians to do this, then you come in? Okay. So, Miracles, I'm not sure at what point but I'm sure you heard Seth, and then you've heard Garu MP. Now, what's the minority's position on this? We all are asking for good roads. We want like in the past. In the past, no, I'm talking about the minority's view. Okay, don't worry, I hear you. In the past, we heard our former president say that he's in a hurry, and so Ghana is a country in a hurry. What is the opposition's problem? If we are going to do this through sole sourcing, and we are still going to get value for money, and we are still going to get good roads, why are we worried? Why are we making a big deal out of this?
Bro, the NDC should just keep quiet. They should just keep quiet, find some plastic chair and sit at the back. Listen, we're having this conversation because of the same thing they are doing now. They talk too much. They talk too much about everything and they end up over talking. And ultimately, they lock themselves in their own corners. Listen, this mantra that bulls are caught by their horns and that men are caught by their own words, the NDC are basically living it. Honorable MP is in the studio talking plenty, trying to justify something, almost as if he's having a fight with somebody, but you're fighting yourself. We in the MPP have always been consistent. We're consistent when we were in government, that there was nothing wrong with sole sourcing, which is in our laws, and we are consistent in opposition now. The only reason why the Honorable MP and the NDC are talking plenty is because they are the ones who have been caught being hypocritical and inconsistent. And the people of this country are basically telling them that what you are doing today is not what you told us. Simplicity. So what is he fighting? Right now, who are they fighting? In the MPP, I don't know whether you've heard anybody say that sole sourcing in the act, or as we have in our laws, is a crime. You and your party criminalized sole sourcing and told the people that when you come to office, sole sourcing will be a thing of the past. Now, the reason why the people of Ghana are upset and angry at you is not because of a certain comparison between you and the MPP. No, you have no fight with the MPP. At the moment, you are fighting the Ghanaian people. Win that fight first before you attempt to come and talk to the MPP. You told them, people actually went to queue. There are middle class people, there are business people, there are people who work in certain businesses, who do business with government, who went to queue to vote for you because you promised them that the days of sole sourcing will be over. And you made them think and feel that the MPP government was wicked and was not allowing for competitive bidding, for which it was narrowing the business opportunities for very few people and blocking others. So think about this. If you're a business or you are businesses and you hear that the government of the day is skewing business contracts towards just a few people through sole sourcing, for which reason you and thousands of other businesses are not having opportunities to do business with government, and the new one tells you that vote for me, when I come, that will be a thing of the past. Won't you vote for that government? So if these businesses and their affiliates and their allies go and queue and vote for you with the belief that you are going to do competitive tendering so they will all get business to do, as against what you accuse the previous government of. And then you come and you are doing worse. And you are here trying to explain and you are talking and you are justifying. Who are you fighting? Who are you talking to? Right now, at the moment, who is the NDC? Honorable MP in the studio. Who is he really talking to right now? Who? You are fighting yourself. Basically, you are fighting yourself. And that tells you the level of hypocrisy, bro. And the people watching GTV this morning, everybody knows this is not the only thing that the NDC have been hypocritical, deceptive, and lied and betrayed the people of this country about. Several things. And go and watch and read the things they said about sole sourcing. It is not as if the MPP or somebody is saying something and you're disputing it. You said it. The NDC held a press conference on sole sourcing and said that sole sourcing, as long as a government is using it, is a tool for stealing. Go and watch that interview that the National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sami Jefe, did at the NDC headquarters. It was a single agenda press conference, sole sourcing. He didn't say that he has a specific example. He said that sole sourcing is a tool for stealing. The Foreign Affairs Minister now, Honorable Sami Okujeto Ablakwa, sat on Onuya TV. He was emphatic. He said that sole sourcing will be eradicated. In fact, he said they are going to amend the Public Procurement Act. The president, before, and even when since he has been in government, on 2 occasions that he has spoken in parliament and addressed the people of this country, said that sole sourcing is a thing of the past. The majority leader, barely a week before this expose, stood in parliament and said that sole sourcing, the days of sole sourcing is over. So if you are caught in the web saying that sole sourcing is over, and yet behind the scenes 76% of the billions of cedis you have committed towards roads are through sole sourcing. You don't sit in the studio and rant and fight and attempt to justify this criminality. And I use criminality because you and your party tagged sole sourcing as a criminal enterprise.
You said it's criminal.
And so if you are engaged in it, then it's a criminal activity. You don't even do that. What you should be doing is should be sitting in the studio and showing remorse, possibly telling the people of Ghana that, hey, I may have gotten it wrong. This is what I thought. But now I've come to realize that when it comes to roads, if you say you are going to use the entire processes of competitive tendering, you may not be able to do enough roads than you expect. The previous government executed and completed 13,000 kilometers of roads. 13,000 kilometers of roads. You accuse them of using sole sourcing to do most of the roads. Today, you are sitting there just under 1 year, under 12 months, 76% of the roads you have done are through sole sourcing. And your justification is that roads are an emergency. There is an urgent need to do our roads, and that's why you use sole sourcing. But the previous government that you accuse, for which reason you made a campaign promise to remove sole sourcing, the roads that he was doing, those roads were not emergency. All of a sudden, Ghanaian roads became an emergency when the NDC came to office. How does this even make sense? How does this even make sense? And all we get from the government is the usual arrogance of power, trying to still make it look like they are sensible than everybody. As for them, they can do whatever they want. They are special. They can use sole sourcing because roads are an emergency, but others cannot. Who asked you to go and promise the people of Ghana that when you come, you make sole sourcing a thing of the past? The MPP never promised that. We never did that in government. We are not doing that in opposition. In opposition, the MPP is not even saying that you have used sole sourcing and sole sourcing should be removed. We are only saying that you promised the people of the country that you would not use sole sourcing. So don't use it. That's all we are saying. So don't draw us into it. We haven't said that if we come to power, we will not use sole sourcing. You said you will not. It is a shame. It is an absolute shame that the NDC as a party continues to lower the level of governance in this country. And they do it shamelessly. I always say that I thank God that I grew up realizing that the NDC is not a political party to be part of, because they are shameless. And when they do these things, they are not even confident and courageous enough to even come on air and admit that we are wrong. The level of betrayal on some of these things to the people of this country is sad. People actually trust in the words of you, the politician, that when you say you do it, you do it. And when you come and you're unable to do it or you depart from it, don't rub it in their faces. Don't do it. Don't justify something you said was wrong and you are sure you will not do, even when you were in office. How are you even able to justify sole sourcing as an NDC person? How? How are you even justifying sole sourcing as an NDC person? That it is an emergency. Didn't you know that the only way you can use sole sourcing is when the thing is an emergency or needs a specialized skill? Today you are sitting in the studio, Honorable MP, and you are saying that we realize that some contractors have the capacity and they have the machines, and so we can just call them to come and do it. But you didn't know that those contractors, they still had the machines and had the capacity in the past. Those contractors, they got the capacity all of a sudden. I have seen the list of the contractors you have given the road contracts to. And let me tell you one interesting thing. Go and look at all the roads you accuse the NDC, MPP of doing sole sourcing. It is the same contractors. Go and check. I picked the report the Fourth Estate shared, and I was looking out for the contractors. And I'm like, these are the regular, normal Ghanaian road contractors that we know. Today, the same contractors qualify for sole sourcing under your government. But those same contractors do not qualify for sole sourcing under the MPP government. What kind of hypocrisy is this? And you still are fighting. You still don't have the courage to say that I am sorry, we were wrong. You are still fighting. And you are still making you are gaslighting the country. You are making the entire country feel like they don't even know what they are talking about, but they know exactly what they are talking about. The Maripomes and the Oswalds and the Mawooms and the Just Mos and the Kingspark that are in the contract, the sole sourcing you done now, they are the same contractors that were doing the roads that you accused the previous government and swore on your life that you never do sole sourcing. That is the crux of the conversation this morning, my brother. Nothing else. There is no other conversation around the fact that you promised to do away with sole sourcing and you are doing worse. And then they talk about, they talk about value for money and that we think that the projects were inflated. Is it not a shame that the MPP government was using $500,000 per kilometer of road? You called it inflated. Today, you are talking about value for money and you are trying to justify the shameless criminal enterprise of sole sourcing. You are spending $1.8 million on a kilometer of road. The $500,000 per kilometer of road was inflated, but your $1.8 million per kilometer of road in an economy that you claim has improved, in an economy that you claim has seen unprecedented growth, in an economy that dollar has dropped from 14 to 10, you are spending $1.8 million per kilometer of road. That is not inflated, but the 500,000 was inflated. What kind of hypocrisy is this?
Thank you very much, Miracles. I'll come back to you in studio. Faris, I said I think you still want to see a lot of things. Don't worry, I'll come to you. Let me finish with Powers. Then I'll do one more round. Then I'll move to the next. Yes, Powers.
I think first off, I noted earlier that sole sourcing or single sourcing is not an illegality, or it's not an illegal enterprise to indulge in as an entity or a procurement entity, which is the definition given by Act 663. I have read the report by the Fourth Estate, and I mean the essence of the entire report is to point out the hypocrisy. You get it, and the inconsistency. In fact, you can sum the entire report up into two words: inconsistency and hypocrisy. But they didn't point out in the entire report any underhand dealings, or they didn't interpret anything to mean that there may have been some manipulations anyway. And CETIA says they published the contractors, the contractors who benefited from the 107 single source contracts. And I'm not sure, beyond merely publishing the contractors, they were able to, or the chance or any document to point out the absence of value for money or any manipulation of figures and other things. So I think the thing is that it is good to point out the inaccuracies, the inconsistencies on the part of the governing National Democratic Congress. And I have said that the NDC is being hanged on their own words. You get it? And I'm sure it's something Honorable and his team will have to learn from, because
the hard way.
Yes, because they tend to make so. I mean, they talk too much.
Typical of politicians.
Yes. So you see, the thing is that that's very typical, and you see that is why the opposition New Patriotic Party is pointing out that you said it was not good, and you even promised that you were coming to. In fact, in a way, the president said in his SONA 2026, he said he was going to ban it, except exceptional circumstances. So, in fact, if you interpret the two words, you know that it is consistent. Ban it, except. So, I think it should rather be you are going to tighten it and to be used in exactly. So, when you say you are banning, but that was what the president said, and I think that sentence itself is inconsistent. You get it? You can't marry the two at the same time. Do you understand? So, the practice is not illegal. And it is an exception. For me, as a citizen, except there's evidence that in awarding these 107 contracts through the accepted procurement process, there were instances of financial malpractices. But if you are telling me about the inconsistencies and the hypocrisy of the government, that is not my argument to make. It's not my argument. It's not my argument. So I'm looking out for whether there's something that point out I mean, that lead Ghanaians to see that this government, by single sourcing these contracts and partook in some underhand dealings, which said underhand dealings may shortchange the state. That is where the conversation will be broadened. But if you want to point out what they said in opposition, we all know politicians, like you well said, there have been other promises made by other politicians which never saw the light of day. So I'm not in for their promises. But the thing is that, in using or in seeking to adopt single source of sole sourcing, it must be in conformity with the policy. In fact, when you look at Section 59 of Act 663, there's a broader policy which is to stop the widespread use of sole sourcing. Again, to avoid inflated contracts. Then financial risk, political controversy, which this has degenerated into political controversy. Then the issue of weak oversight. Now, Honorable said the PPA approves the process, and he's right. When you look at Section 40, 41, 42, 43, it provides that to undertake or to engage in sole sourcing, the board must approve it. Do you understand? So it means that the Public Procurement Board, if this contract were awarded through that process, he approves it. Unless there's evidence that the Public Procurement Board did not approve it. And unless we also have an evidence or any shred of evidence that the board was either coerced or the board did not exercise its oversight responsibility as expected under the law. But if merely it is to say that the government resorted to the use of sole sourcing and single sourcing, personally, from my point as a legal practitioner, I'm not here for the politics. I'm looking at whether they use it, whether it was in conformity or it is in conformity with the law. And from my perspective, what the sole sourcing of those contracts were in conformity with the law. Unless, and I've said that unless there's evidence of some financial misappropriation, and any underhand dealings or lack of oversight on the part of PPA, then we can broaden the conversation. But to point out inconsistency and the hypocrisy, that is the job of the politicians, which I'm not interested in. I don't want to be invited into that political controversy. But I'm looking at whether because Miracle himself pointed out that it is not illegal. So on the table, we understand that it's not illegal. It is rather the governing National Democratic Congress that promised to what? Tighten the noose to make sure that it is not resorted to as the norm, but rather the exception. Do you understand? And as to whether or not it is the norm now, it's not an argument I will make. But I think that going forward, it is important politicians streamline their conversation and communication. And it's about so.
Would they ever? It's what the masses want to hear. So they will tell us.
Exactly. So they will tell you what.
I'm sure when we join the next campaign for Honorable, when he's coming,
Honorable will
make the things you see.
So I've said that the fourth estate did not point out any other handlings. They are per the story they published, which has generated the controversy or the conversation.
Stories have been in series. So
so that's what I'm saying.
So what I have read, that's what I'm saying, the story now, unless if you have the other one, it's not out yet. Because
we've published the cost per kilometer.
No, but you didn't point out any underhand dealings.
Wait. I would.
So I'll give you once it's done. I'll give you.
Because because the thing is that it's about there's a difference between throwing the fact out and also putting a spin to it. If you point out the amount per kilometer, it does not in any way say that there has been underhand dealings. You are only telling Ghanaians this is how much they charge. So now you are leaving the conversation to Ghanaians to now interpret or subjectively read in between the lines. That is a conversation.
That's why earlier I asked that question. That if we have, because like he explained, ordinarily in every professional environment, before you go tender, you get either you have a consultant or if you have an office responsible for in some engineers, they give you your BOQs.
Exactly.
You have your BOQ and the BOQ gives you how much you are supposed to spend. So you know the budget. But that stays with you. Then now you tender. Exactly. You tender with your scope. Then the people would go on site, whatever it is, and they bid.
Yes.
When they bid, those who are lower than, you compare and make sure that, okay, are they bidding with the right materials so that we are not going to say we are giving it based on cost and you go and do shoddy work. Those who are bidding high, why are they bidding high? Okay, so this is the best person we think is offering based on our, but then can we negotiate the price?
Exactly.
So it's only when you have the benchmark. That's why you said that they've asked for it, but they have some series they are yet to do. Exactly. So I've left it that they have it, but probably do let us.
Exactly. No, so currently the conversation is that, so currently it is not part of the conversation. Do you understand? It's not, if we engage in it, it's speculation.
Right.
I want us to situate the conversation within what they put out, which said report was based on the document they received from the ministry.
True.
Do you understand? They did not point out that in awarding this contract, they inflated the prices. And even if they are now trying to push that conversation, if you take the commentary of an expert, that expert is not the sole expert in that field. That is his subjective opinion. Is there a standard? You talk about benchmark. Is there a standard that when you are in constructing 1 kilometer of road, you must charge this amount? And Honorable put that there are several factors that come to play. Equipment, labor, and other things.
Type of soil.
You get it? So for me, I want to just, restrict myself to what they put out, which said report I have read. And they are only trying to point out their inconsistency, because when you read the report, apart from telling you the number of contracts that were awarded through single sourcing, they went ahead to reiterate commentaries by the governing National Democratic Congress when they were in opposition, and even when they are in government. And they also spoke to some anti-graft campaigners. So, that is, for me, I don't think this, and other people say, oh, this is a scandal. This is not a scandal. This is not a scandal. Let's not make a storm out of a teacup. This is not a scandal. Is it legal? It is legal. Unless there's evidence, like I've said, that, there was this financial misappropriation, this inflated contracts, and other things.
Right.
But the large, maybe a wholesale use of single source may raise issues of unethical use, but that's a different argument altogether.
Right.
Being unethical does not mean it's not legal. Do you understand?
Yes.
Whilst the law sanctions same, I don't think there's anything with it. Okay. And that is the only thing I hear the Fourth Estate say.
Okay.
But if they have anything, any other evidence which they are yet to release, then we are waiting for those ones. Then we can engage in a broader conversation.
Okay. So I know Seth will take leave of us because he's here mainly for this. So probably I'll give you an opportunity to speak because you have done the work. But again, two key things have come up, which I'm sure when you are speaking you respond to. From Honorable is saying that it was urgent. Why? Because there was a budget that was drawn at the beginning of the year. The budget has two sides to it. Revenue generation and expense. And they cannot spend what they do not have. And so they have to wait to a certain point to make sure that the revenue projections are being actualized. Then at that point is when they can now say, okay, we have it. Minister says that confirm now you can spend. Then now they can spend. And when they come, they have a short window to make sure that they mobilize the contractors for them to go on site. And so it was urgent. So the urgency justifies the use of the restricted and the sole sourcing. So basically. Okay. So do this for me in 5 minutes so I can take a quick break.
Let me read a story from Parliament published by Graphic Online on June 18, 2021.
Okay.
The minority in Parliament has said that the practice by government to often resort to awarding road contracts under sole sourcing procurement method is astronomically inflating the cost of road construction in the country. This is June 2021, June 18, 2021. Specifically, Mr. Gavin Agboja, who is now the road minister, speaking. Please.
Speak to the audience. You are not speaking to him. Speak to the audience.
The development, it said, was part of the reason why the government was unable to have enough resources to undertake more road construction projects.
Right.
Now, let me jump. among the various procurement methods that were used in the awards of said contract, he said single source procurement was used to award a total of 177 road projects, meaning he is questioning even the number of roads that have been constructed through the single source procurement process, right? Now, it is the turn of the same minister who claimed that single source is inflating the cost of projects. Is now using the same thing. I told you the data we showed, not a single competitive bidding process, not a single one. Not a single one.
107 out of 107.
107, 81 is sole sourcing. 26 is...
so I'm saying that all I'm saying is that
yes,
no competitive...
Not a single one. The same person, the person who said no contract awarded under sole sourcing inflates contracts, right, is now saying that, oh, it's okay.
So by logical reasoning, if sole sourcing,
don't forget that it is the ministry's engineers who would do the
BOQs.
Yes, the assessment and evaluation and estimate the cost of the road before it is awarded to the contract, right? Don't forget that. It's the same engineers who are working under this minister. The same engineers under whom sole sourcing has been done. Sole sourcing inflates. You get the logic. Sole sourcing inflates.
No, let me land.
That's the subjective. Let me land. Whether that's subjective or not, right? A minister tells us that in the past, through sole sourcing, contract prices are inflated. It is the reason we are having less number of roads under construction, right? We are not getting value for money. The same minister today is using the same engineers, unless of course they've changed the engineers at the ministry, right? The same minister is using this same number of same engineers to assess roads and, you know, cost estimate for those roads,
right?
And then those roads are constructed under sole source.
So let me
land with it. Then he makes a very, very interesting point about, where is this quotation? Part of the reason why the government is unable to build more roads is because the use of sole sourcing in the award of road contracts inflates the cost of such contracts. The minister told the House. This is a government that you can never trust. They tell you to look up, but you should be looking down, right? Somebody who tells us in the past that sole sourcing is causing us to lose value.
So she's asking us to look down.
We should not trust the government that was awarding contract under sole sourcing yesterday. Right. But we should trust him when he's using the same method. So, and I did, let me continue. I did mention that there is a road project that we should all be asking questions about. I said I'm not an expert, but we've spoken to experts that a road, what's the name? The Cape Coast Takrady Road, right? A lot of that has been given. And that loss is costing us 3.8 billion. If you do cost per kilometer, 154,419 cedis. If you convert it into dollar, $14.1 million per kilometer of the road. I agree. Topography and everything else could account for where you can even haul materials for the road and so on, could account for the cost. Didn't we know all this yesterday when we were talking about sole sourcing inflating the cost of projects? What has changed? What has changed? What makes it different today? How different is this sole sourcing from the past? Was it not the same group of engineers who were doing the analysis and awarding the contract? How is it not a single competitive bidding? He told Parliament that, and in fact, when we asked him for a response, he said most of the roads were awarded on competitive bidding and restrictive. How come we are seeing the data dominated by sole sourcing? It is not enough to tell us. Let's take governance very serious. It is not enough to tell us that, it is rhetoric. We should not take your rhetoric seriously. Honorable, we voted for you based on the promises you made us. And if we cannot take your promise, if we cannot value, we cannot put substance on your promises, there is no way we should be electing politicians. I value what you tell me, right? I value what you tell me. There should be integrity in our public office.
Right.
That when you say you are going to do A, you will do it. You will not shift the goalpost because it suits you. It's very important. So when you tell me, oh, it's just rhetoric, it is not enough. Now, there's a point about how some of the projects, sole sourcing is urgent and so on. The data you gave us, part of it was that those projects were awarded in the past, isn't it? They told us about 23 roads. They added to the current numbers. Now, there's this road project. Where is it? Rehabilitation of Tepa, Gosu Road, right? The minister, in a haste to discredit us, right, said, oh, it was awarded in the past. Kojo, look at this. 12 October 2025. That date is under this current administration. And guess what? It's a Sunday. Do we award contracts? Do we sign contracts on Sundays? Do we sign contracts on Sundays? Now, if the contract was awarded in the past, why do we need to change the processes again and re-award it? Do you understand? We are in a hurry to complete the roads. That is the agency he's saying, isn't it? We are in a hurry. There's another one. There are a number of them.
Is it a lot of that project or the whole project?
There's Jinjini Samparu.
Projects that have been divided
into lots.
Yes. Into lots.
So we can see the same project
name appear 2 or 3
but times. It can be a lot.
A different lot.
Oh, yeah, I did mention that they've given the project. So the project was already there and they've now cut it into lots. So I'm saying the same kilometer of roads. The same kilometer of roads.
So,
the minister admitted that they did that. I have a problem with integrity. Politicians telling us that when we tell you things, don't tell us serious. And it's on both sides of the coin, right? Don't tell us that when you tell us things, it's just for politics. Then I don't put value on your integrity or honesty, right? Now, if the president of Ghana tells us that we are going to reduce sole sourcing, you remember him saying that, I wrote it here, everyone is counting their pound of flesh because of sole sourcing, right? It means that if you are going to spend over 70 billion of the taxpayers' money on your flagship project in roads, don't forget the road sector is very huge and a lot of money goes on in there. And the president says the barest minimum should be sole sourcing. And you have a case where the majority of the contracts you are awarded as under sole sourcing, and you are telling me that because you have not abused the law, all road contradicting what you said in the past about inflation,
are not under big push.
No, we should.
All road contracts are not under big push.
I agree.
So I am dealing with big push alone that he has.
Honorable, is using 70. The 73 billion I mentioned are big push contracts.
Okay. I need to take a break.
Because they are major.
So thank you very much. Seth will be taking leave of us after this break. When we come back, we'll be looking at the no bed situation at our hospitals. We'll be back after this break.
Stay back and stay safe. The National Petroleum Authority is cautioning the public to desist from scooping or fetching fuel from overturned fuel tankers at accident scenes. Do not get closer to the scene in an attempt to take videos or pictures. Inhaling the petroleum product is detrimental to your health. Worst of all, petroleum products are volatile and highly flammable, and a small spark can trigger a catastrophic explosion, causing deaths and loss of property. Call the Ghana Fire Service or Ghana Police personnel to handle the scene, or reach the National Petroleum Authority's contact center on 0302 550 380. Your life is worth more than a gallon of fuel. The Save a Life campaign is from the National Petroleum Authority.
For decades, we have helped businesses connect with their trade partners all over the globe. From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries. We have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa. We are indeed the African bank with the global reach.
Stay back and stay safe. The National Petroleum Authority is cautioning the public to desist from scooping or fetching fuel from overturned fuel tankers at accident scenes. Do not get closer to the scene in an attempt to take videos or pictures. Inhaling the petroleum product is detrimental to your health. Worst of all, petroleum products are volatile and highly flammable, and a small spark can trigger a catastrophic explosion, causing deaths and loss of property. Call the Ghana Fire Service or Ghana Police personnel to handle the scene, or reach the National Petroleum Authority's contact center on 0302 550 380. Your life is worth more than a gallon of fuel. The Save a Life campaign is from the National Petroleum Authority.
Independently verified whether the video is recent, the Health Minister, Mr. Kwabena Mintah Kando's unanticipated visit was to apprise himself of the prevailing conditions at the Accident and Emergency Unit of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital and inspect progress of ongoing works. At the time of visit, the 51-bed unit was operating at full capacity with limited resources. He went on to inspect the newly installed elevators. As part of efforts to retool the hospital facilities across the country, Mr. Mintah Kando disclosed that a catheterization laboratory is being built at the Tamale and Komfanochi Teaching Hospitals. Meanwhile, that of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital is being expanded. From last year to date, 200 additional beds have been installed at the recovery wards to help to decongest the emergency ward.
When it comes to decongestion of the accident and emergency center, we have made available ward G to absorb the neurosurgical cases. They form like 10-20% of the cases at emergency. We are also resourcing the medical department with more beds to be able to take up most of the cases. And it's clearly they are working within 24 hours.
The minister, Mr. Kwabena Mintah Kando, reiterated plans to mitigate the no-bed syndrome, even though the committee established to examine the woes of the health sector is yet to complete its work.
What is important as we're going, what I realized was that there's the need for the increase in beds at the wards, so that at every material time we can create space at the emergency. His Excellency the President has also instructed that with immediate effect we must start the processes of the construction of the maternity block So this year we are starting the construction of the maternity block. We want to create what we call a command center. We are using IT technology, and that will take us some time. We are going to pilot with the regional and the teaching hospitals. So when even the ambulance people pick you and then they put you in the system, they will direct you where to go. They are pasting barcodes on all the beds. So even when I stay in my office, I know the number of beds at Kolebu. When there is an emergency and the person is on the bed for more than 24 hours, I know.
Well, welcome back from the break. This is Current Agenda, proudly sponsored by Bank of Africa and NPA. I read a few messages from our viewers, and then we'll go straight into the no bed issue. And so I'll probably just read 2 or 3 of it, then we go on. The first one says, God bless you with your good works. Fast forward, we are in this country when this government suggested to the good people of Ghana to contribute for the upcoming World Cup. What is the Ministry of Health also doing? Can they also solicit for funds from good people of Ghana, since our health is our wealth? Look at what's happening in our various health centers. No bed, lack of logistics, and many more. This is from Rose. This also says, good morning, GTV panel. My name is Malba from Chirimponi. Please tell the government he promised to do Yendi Chirimponi Road, but we are still waiting for him. Up to now, there's no contractor on the road. If the road will not fix next 4 years, we are not going to vote. Okay. And this one goes to, okay, who is Miracle talking for? No Ghanaian is complaining. Give us a break. Okay. This one also says, good morning, Mr. Host. Please ask Honorable MP in your studio who he is fighting with. Okay. Okay, this is Kwabena from Nkoko. It was his passion. He was not fighting. This one is also says that I wish Seth would have gotten the same level of energy to have asked the past administration the same roads question, and also on the cathedral. Okay. There are a few more, but let me just go straight into the health issue now. Before we came, I was just trying to find out from my panel the population. The last census, the population of Ghana, we are about 34 million, around that figure. We currently have about 2,857 medical facilities in this country. If you run a quick ratio, what it means is that one medical facility is supposed to take care of close to 20,000 people. That cannot be possible. If you run a ratio like that, what it means that, assuming everybody is getting sick every day, what it means that on every day, one hospital should be able to take care of 20,000 people. Clearly, that can be. And that's an issue we need to discuss. I hear a lot of the times when these issues come up, we are quick pointing of fingers. We are pointing at nurses. We are all professional. Yes, we are not saying they are not. There are some of them who are, some who are not. But the bigger problem is, and Honorable mentioned it in the back, if the whole of Greater Accra, you have one teaching hospital, Kolebu, then it's and we are 69 years. Anyway, that's not my reflection. Let me come to the studio. Honorable, can we ever get past this? Because this no bed syndrome, which I indicated earlier, goes beyond the physical bed. It's becoming an issue that seems like with all our education and all our exposure as a people, we can't solve.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this no bed syndrome is as a result of 3 main factors, to my understanding. One, space infrastructure with the needed space and logistics, the human resource to run the infrastructure with all associated ancillary equipment, and then 3, coordination between the emergency service agencies like the National Ambulance Service, referral system. It means that all these 3 factors come together to give rise to this no bed syndrome. And also the referral system, I think that is where we have a serious challenge. where hospitals don't talk to each other, where the emergency department team, the pre-hospital service, like the ambulance service, is not talking to the hospitals. To be frank, you take an ambulance service and ask him to call one hospital, he may be having a friend's number who is a staff there to call. Rich hospital perhaps wants to call 37 military hospital emergency and may have to think of a friend who is working there. Then he can make a call. That is why the current government is trying to establish a coordination center where every hospital, referral hospital, can communicate with each other, where we can sit at a place and know how many beds are in a hospital, because there are evidence sometimes that you go to a hospital and you see beds in certain wards, but you send a patient for an emergency and they say there's no bed. It is because the emergency department and the hospital bed management system does not really coordinate. There should be a platform on the hospital software to show how many beds are being occupied, who is occupying which beds, and what disease is he having on that bed, and how long is he staying there. And even some hospitals you go, and some have stayed more than the time they should stay simply because they can't pay 1,000 to be discharged. So you see the social issue comes in. But it's a fact that the rate at which we are developing our health system, our health infrastructure in Ghana, does not really correlate with the growth of our population. You just made mention, I was making mention to you at the background. How many hospitals do we really have in Accra? And what is the distance between them, and what is the time between accident place or emergency point to those hospitals? If somebody gets a serious accident at Kwabenya, they'll be looking at sending him to 37 or Kolebu. Is that not it? What is the distance? What is the population of Kwabenya? That we can situate a main hospital there. All this is because successive governments have not done as good.
But I don't know what the agenda was supposed to do.
Especially the New Patriotic Party. I want to be honest. I don't play politics in health. Because if you want to check the record of infrastructure that has been put up by the NDC government, and you compare it to the number of infrastructure, health facilities that have been put up by the NPP government, you don't need to compare.
Do you have the statistics?
I don't have the statistics, but I can just use Accra, common Accra, and some few regions to point to you. Let's start with Tamale. The Tamale Teaching Hospital was expanded by the NDC government. Wa Regional Hospital was built by the NDC government. The Bolga Regional Hospital was built by the NDC government. The whole regional hospital was built by the NDC government. The Sunyani Regional Hospital and the NDC. The expansion of Rich Hospital and the NDC. The Legon Hospital, Medical Hospital by NDC. Bank of Ghana Hospital by NDC. The Maritime Hospital by NDC. I can keep count. And the expansion of certain infrastructure in the already existing hospitals by the NDC government.
But the MPP also built the East Municipal Hospital, the Wa Regional Hospital you're talking in 2019. The Tepa District Hospital, the Trifupraso District Hospital in 2021, Konongo Dumasi District Hospital.
Wa region was not built by NDC. Please.
No, in 2019 they did the like you said.
No, they delayed the commissioning, just like they delayed the commissioning of the Legon Medical Hospital. Remember, it had to take one gentleman to demonstrate before my beautiful Rebecca at Kolebu. And when the minister was sick of COVID, that he commissioned it. That's what they did. Bolga was locked up for almost 5 years. Bolga was locked up. Bolga was complete. Was left with them to commission, but they didn't want to do it. So I'm saying that we have one government that comes to expand. If they had also expanded the regional hospitals and district hospitals the way NDC was doing, we wouldn't have been in this quagmire. And you asked me about Agenda 111. Yes, Agenda 111 will come and increase the bed capacity in the country. But it would not resolve the no-bed syndrome in Ghana. Do you know why? Because the situation of the no-bed syndrome is happening in the big cities
that already has hospitals. So the Agenda 111 is for communities or district that do not have what? Hospitals. Because those districts were already pairing with other districts that they have been carved off. So they have a place to go. Though we really need to expand, but the no-bed syndrome is in Accra, it's in Kumasi, sometimes in Tamale. The reason is that we have left only few hospitals to be able to manage emergencies. But the law or the guidelines that establish the the ministry's emergency system is that all hospitals in the country, all hospitals should be resourced enough to receive any emergency at any time. But the resourcing is the problem. When was our hospitals retooled? The last time our hospitals were retooled was in 2014 by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Since MPP came to power, no hospital has been retooled. That is why the doctors in Kolibu are saying that you are not tooling us. But this government has decided to give a lot of funds, 1.something billion, to retool hospitals, to ensure that they have the needed equipment, beds, DP machines, emergency equipment to attend to emergency cases. The minister is even proposing they should get more emergency receiving centers within Accra and the big cities, so that we don't only depend on the teaching hospitals, the regional hospitals, the military hospitals to be ascending, referring emergency cases. So I believe that it is as a lack of infrastructure development to go along with population growth that is leading us to this. It's not because of the names, it's not because of the doctors. Yes, there may be lapses, and every society, we have good people, we have good professionals, and we have few ones that are not. It could be some few lapses.
Right.
But the major problem about how to solve the no-bed syndrome is infrastructure development and procurement of equipment needed to handle emergency cases.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Miracles, if you can hear me, I'm sure you heard the Honorable Garu MP speak. I am going through a list of hospitals that I think in 2024, one of the MPP the Projects Bureau published to be hospitals that were started and completed by the Kufuor Bawumia government. There are about 37 of them: Akontombra, Bogosu, Elubo, Impoho, Swayem, which is my hometown, Mansun, Kwanta. It goes down up to UGMC Phase 2. Then it also talks about the Kufuor's Eurojet hospitals completed by that same government, from the Gan East Municipal Hospital, Wa Regional Hospital, which Honorable is saying is not the case. In Koko, Tepa, Trefopra, Konongo. Then there's a 250-bed at Ashanti Regional Hospital in Sewua. Then there were also those which were started but yet to be completed, and then those under the Agenda 111. Miracles, what Honorable is saying, that all these hospitals that your party, and I'm sure you have this list also because it's on one of your platforms. What he's saying is that the major cities that really need these hospitals, because those are the places that you have issues of no bed syndrome, or the issues where people go, they are the referral hospitals. There was little or no work done by the NPP. And again, he mentions that there was no retooling within the entire 8 years. Honorable, that's what he said, right? Within the entire 8 years, there was no retooling of these hospitals. And NDC has come in to correct that. And so we should understand that some of these issues will come, but it's as a result of your failure as a government in the past.
I don't know. It's unfortunate the honorable member of parliament makes such commentary about this very important subject, which is on the subject of health. Nobody should do that. Nobody in its patriotic conscience should even make such commentary. Listen, health is a very major matter. Anybody can fall for it at any point in time. And when we are having issues of health conversations, these things shouldn't happen. Before MPP came to power in 2016, there was his government. In fact, in this country, we've had 9 elections. His government has led this country more than any other political party. And so, if that is a conversation, then the question will be, why hasn't his government fixed all issues in health? It's a very sad. I was listening to him and I felt very sad. Why are you discussing health in this manner? You know, that MPP was in. So MPP is the reason why we have a no-bed syndrome and that people are sleeping on the floor at Kolebu last week because of MPP. When you mentioned Eurojets, projects that were started by President Kufuor, your party came to office 8 years and couldn't even finish those projects. Waited for the same MPP to come and finish. And we are here talking about MPP. It's a very sad situation. I refuse to be drawn into that, you know, kind of conversation when it comes to health. Listen, we are talking about a situation where we do not have enough beds in this country. What it means is that we need to do something about it. And this situation became even more glaring and scary when the COVID pandemic broke out. If you recollect, at some point, I remember I was a municipal chief executive. We used to go and even beg for student dormitories and classroom blocks and use for some of these things, and use for patients. You go to hospitals during the COVID pandemic and you see people lying on the floor and being treated. Some people were even holding their own IVs in their hands as you have it on them. It's as a result of this that the then president, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, actually initiated the Agenda 111, you know, infrastructural program. Now, the reason for that is, if you look at our health system and how it's structured, the very basic fundamental point for our health system is the CHIPS compounds, which is at the electoral area level. And then after CHIPS compounds, you have what we call the health centers. So the CHIPS compounds are supposed to be at the electoral area level, where immediately somebody has an issue.
Okay, I think there's a bit of connectivity issue. When we get the connectivity, we'll get back to.
We have polyclinics. Then above polyclinics are the district hospitals. Above the district hospitals are the regional hospitals. And then we have the tertiary, you know, hospitals like Kolebu and Komfanoche and what have you. There is a missing link, and the Honorable MP got it wrong when he assumes that Kolebu's situation is as a result of it being in Accra. That's completely wrong. Indeed, if you go to Kolebu right now, you'd realize that most of the patients in Kolebu are actually coming from outside the Greater Accra region. And usually, Kolebu is not supposed to be receiving people who have malaria, people who have typhoid and jaundice, even minor surgeries. That's not what Kolebu is meant to do. Kolebu and its kind are meant to handle very serious, sophisticated issues. But because of the gaps we have in our health systems, people tend to move towards Kolebu, 37 Ridge, with even minor things. Blood transfusion, little things. And that is why, instead of having the conversation the way the Honorable MP sought to, we should rather come and look at the situation and how we should fix it. I don't know if you know the Medina Adenta towards Okre in the Ekuapem Ridge very well. But Medina, Lankwantanan is a district. Adenta municipality, Ekuapem South, Ekuapem North, and Okre. These 5 districts, until recently where the district hospital for Ekuapem South was completed, the Kom Clinic was upgraded, these 5 hospitals had only one district hospital that they all use, Tetekwashi Memorial Hospital in Ekuapem North. Okre district had no district hospital. Ekuapem South had no district hospital. Adenta, even as we speak, still does not have a district hospital. Nkwantanan does not have a district hospital. In fact, Ayawaso West. So all these districts, when there is a health situation and your CHIPS compound cannot handle, your clinic cannot handle, your polyclinic cannot handle, your next referral stage is the district hospital. But because they do not have the district hospital, they all end up in Korle Bu, or they end up in 37. And that is the reason why you see such congestions in Korle Bu and 37. It is not because Korle Bu is in Accra. The people who are in Korle Bu, most of them are not from Accra. They're from outside Accra. So what we have to do as a country is to simply increase the bed capacity. Increasing the bed capacity is not just about increasing the number of beds in Korle Bu. That is not the situation. That's not the solution. Because if you skew the thinking that you have to increase the number of beds in Korle Bu, then what you are saying is that you have to build more spaces in Korle Bu to be able to hold these beds. What we need is what the previous health administration started, Agenda 111, a situation where we realized that about 88 of our districts in Ghana, out of the 261, had no district hospitals. What it meant is that for the citizens in these 88 districts, when they have a health situation which is beyond a clinic, they cannot be treated in their district. They must be moved to another district, and they end up in the 37s and the Korle Bus and the Konfadoches and the Tamale teaching hospitals, and then we have congestions there. But if we should be able to provide district hospitals within all of these 88 districts, you would have created more beds, even closer to the people, to hold and handle even accidents, emergencies, and what have you, without necessarily having all of them to be transported via ambulances to the tertiary hospitals. And that, for me, is where we should avail our minds to. Ask Honorable MP, who is messing up the conversation and trying to make it political, that how come that his government has been in power for the longest in this country, and yet when we had the pandemic, we all of a sudden realized that we had 88 districts in Ghana who did not have hospitals at all. How come his government didn't build these hospitals when they were creating all of these districts and constituencies? Nobody in the NPP government actually complained about the fact that the NDC did not build hospitals. We got to work. Indeed, we completed most of the hospitals that they started, initiated new ones, and also completed, and even went a step further to even complete hospitals that were started long before the NDC number 2 came and they abandoned. And so if we have come to office and we still have issues of no beds, what they are supposed to do is to simply go and say, how do we create more bed spaces? It is not smart and intelligent to create more bed spaces in Korle Bu and 37. It's not smart. Because then what you are saying is that for those in Adaklu, in the Volta region, who do not have a district hospital, when somebody is sick and needs that specialized attention, they must come for that bed in Korle Bu. You are still going to end up creating congestion there. Rather, what the Honorable MP for Galo and his NDC government should do is that Adaklu has an ongoing district hospital under Agenda 111. They should go and complete that hospital for the people of Adaklu. When the people of Adaklu have the Agenda 111 district hospital completed, when there is a car accident, when there is an emergency that is not so extreme, they wouldn't have to come to Korle Bu because the beds will be right there in their district and they will be treated there. That, for me, is the way to have this conversation. But if they continue to abandon the Agenda 111 projects in the bush and don't also build hospitals for these districts, and they continue to sit on TV, sit on radio, put cameras on them like the health minister is doing, and create content and move about and say, we are going to build another maternity ward in Korle Bu. Why are you building another maternity ward in Korle Bu? When the people in Korle Bu, most of them are even coming outside the capital, and they don't have this facility there. Why don't you give them the facility there so that they don't have to come to Korle Bu? That for me is a serious defect in how this government is looking at the solution for the people of this country. There is a blueprint by the Ghana Health Service. There is a strategy that has been rolled out by the Ghana Health Service. That is to say that in order to create more beds, let's not concentrate it on one side. Let's decentralize it so that across the country, people have quick and easy access to these beds when they need it. And that includes completing every health facility that you came to meet, and also building more where it's required. But if you have abandoned Agenda 111, which are district hospitals, which are going to create beds for the people, and you are sitting on radio and you are lamenting, and you even have the infantry to talk about the previous government, I'm sorry, but what kind of governance is this NDC government doing? I don't understand. I really don't understand. When we came to office, there was a Rogers project. Your government was office in 8 years. They didn't do it. We came to finish it. We didn't complain. There were projects that your government started. You didn't finish. We came to meet it. We completed. We didn't complain. You went to take loans in your previous government, the NDC number 1, the 2012 one. You went to take loans to build hospitals. You ended up using most of that money to undertake political research. Your own minister, deputy minister, Honorable Rojo Metununu, deputy health minister, confers to this. We didn't complain. We went ahead to construct new hospitals, complete some of the hospitals you started, and even complete some that preceded you, to the extent that we, as a government, has introduced close to over 100 hospitals across the country, which you have to continue. If you continue, each of these hospitals, which are district hospitals and above, because some of them are even regional hospitals. The Eastern Regional Hospital is part of these projects, which are district hospitals and above. They are going to create beds for the Ghanaian people to utilize. So get to work. Stop talking. Stop complaining. The elections are over. You won an election with an overwhelming, numbers and majority. You made a lot of lofty promises. You have the mandate now. We are begging this NDC government. We cannot do anything about them running them a mandate for 4 years. We are their beck and call. We are at their mercy now. All they have to do is to reduce the talking, focus on the challenges which are not new, and fix for us. That's what we are asking for, my brother. That's all the people of this country are asking for, and nothing else. This business of when there is an issue and they are clueless and they have no solution, they quickly want to resort to MPP this, MPP that. It's lame. It's old school. It's past. It doesn't give you anything, because ultimately the people of this country are going to hold you accountable for what you did when you were in office, and not how many times you spoke about your previous government. You've talked too much for over a year. We are in the 14th month or so since you took office. You have little to show, but so much to say. That for me is a problem. And we are appealing. At this point, we can only plead with them, because we are saddled with them and we cannot do anything about it. And we cannot also give up on them at this juncture, because if we do, that will be a lot of years we are going to be wasting. At this juncture, they are turning out to be a complete waste of our time, and we are going to work with them to fix it so that at least they become useful in the most important areas.
Oh, thank you for your submission. Powers, when Miracles was speaking and when Honorable was also speaking, there are two things that jumped at me. How we manage data in this country. Honorable made an important point, Miracles confirmed it, that if you look at it, majority of the people who come to Rage, who are referred to Kolebu, who are referred to 37, majority of them, a lot of them are probably even not from the environs of that place. And it goes to ask, how do we manage data here? Because if we are taking data of the people who come in there and you know their origin, then it should tell you which group of people are coming there more, and that should even inform where we situate hospitals in future, so that it reduces the traffic. Do we use data in this country? Or it's when we go and we do campaign, hey, this people say one hospital, and come and put it there. For all you know, those people don't even are not the ones who are being referred the most.
So, I think the thing is that you've even answered the question, because if we are taking data seriously, I'm not sure we will be having this conversation, because as you well noted, and as Miracle and Honorable have noted earlier, the thing is that we get these tertiary institutions or tertiary health facilities receive more people from outside the Greater Accra, who are ordinarily or who are supposed to get hospitals in their various locations, to assess those hospitals, because these are tertiary institutions and they are not to treat these common mania diseases, but you tend to see many people rush there because they, perhaps maybe where they don't have a readily available hospital to access. And that is where sometimes you don't need a data to tell you that we are not being dutiful to the data that we collect. Because we've digitized our patient data. I'm sure the Ministry of Health has access to a database whereby you know the number of people from a particular residence, a particular location, region, and also to guide in policy decisions. So that I think the argument should be that our policies instigated by data, which for me, my argument is no. Because many of our policies, the campaign promises are mere political words or campaign that are not grounded in data.
Right.
Because if they were, we should be seeing some of these things because the no bed syndrome is not about the absence of bed or physical bed alone. It goes beyond that. And Honorable has touched on the infrastructure, the logistics and infrastructure aspect. But beyond that, it will interest you to know that the issue raises concerns about the right to life. As guaranteed in Article 13 of the 1992 Constitution, right to life. Then the duty of care of medical professionals.
And a thought.
Yes, and a thought. You remember the famous Donahue versus Stephenson?
Yeah.
Where Lord Atkins gave the neighbor principle.
Yes.
That you must not act in a manner that will injure
your
or bring harm to your neighbor. Sometimes I have said that the conversation has been one-sided. We talk about the aspect of the government and the hospitals. And when we talk about the aspect of the medical professionals, we feel or people say they are being attacked, but that's not the conversation. They have a responsibility, which they must discharge. So there must be a duty of care. They owe, and I have said that, and many have even argued, which said argument I subscribe to, that turning away patients that require emergency health care in the name of no bed without triage and stabilization amounts to a constitutional and a breach of constitutional and tort duties. Because my argument has always been, even if we don't have enough beds, some of these ambulances, they are fitted with stretchers. Stabilize the people before turning them away. But to turn them away on the back of or with the excuse of the absence of no bed, or even I've even also heard argument that people say that the nurses or the medical professionals are inundated with a lot of patients. So on that basis, they will not be able to attend to. But that is not an argument we should be making. That is not an argument we should be making anywhere. And also there's the bit about the negligence and liabilities. We have had little education when it comes to the tort duties and the right of Ghanaians when it comes to tort and how they can take on the state and health facilities where there are fatalities or serious casualties. And this is a kind of conversation we should be pushing forth. I'm sure when we're able to do that through a string of hospitals, then we will inject some level of confidence into the system. Let's not be blaming the absence of bed, the lack of facilities alone. How about the way the medical professionals attend to these patients? How do they go about it? We must expand the conversation to bring them into the fold, because they are at the forefront of the fight. So if we blame logistics and infrastructure and we fail to blame management or the people manning these facilities, we are not having a holistic conversation. So I'm saying that, you see, and when Doc was speaking, he touched on a very important thing. I remember I spoke to a doctor who says at a point when he was then the top medical officer at, I think, 37. And he said when he was there, they had this agreement with Rage Hospital, 37 Hospital, and Kolebu, and they had a national digitized bed system, management system, where they know, like this. So it was more like a live dashboard. You see the number of beds available at Kolebu, the one available at 37, the one available at emergency beds, so that when you have an urgent patient to attend to, you know where to allocate the person. Right. That is what we need. We should be moving. The conversation should be, how do we nationalize this idea? How do we get all the hospitals? And this live dashboard should be available, accessible to the ambulance services. And one part of the conversation, we must also prioritize the training of our ambulance personnel in some of these basic triage and stabilization process. Even though I understand some training have gone on, we must retool them. Because some of these things are happening one too many. And if you watch the video from Kolebu, you notice there were some patients sitting on the floor.
Lying, actually.
Some were lying on the floor. And then I'm asking myself, why? Is it because there's no bed? But there are consequences. Because if you ask someone to sit on the floor or lie on the floor, and the person suffers fatality or casualties owing to your direction, you could suffer some liabilities. Right. So our hospitals must begin to take life seriously. And we must move beyond the conversation. There are no beds. And I think one thing the Honorable too must also impress upon his people is that the Agenda 111 hospitals will come handy. Government, let's stop this politics of convenience that one party started, one administration started the project, so I'm not going to continue. And that when I do that, it will favor that government which is now in opposition. That shouldn't be the argument, because it is benefits every Ghanaian. So I will pray these governments to prioritize finishing or expediting the construction of the Agenda 111 hospitals, so that Ghanaians could access these hospitals.
Thank you. So we have a live program exactly at 10, so I'm just going to do a 60-second wrap for each of you. So it's just 60 seconds, because at 10 o'clock exactly I'm being cut, whatever we say. So let me start with Miracles. Miracles, if you can hear me, I just want to do a 60 seconds wrap. I'm going off exactly at 10 o'clock. So 60 seconds. Any final words you would want to say?
Well, I mean, I think that I basically said it in my previous submission. Government should get to work. The politics will come later. Between now and probably second quarter in 2028, it's serious business. There's no room for excuses. The people need beds. It is government's responsibility to give them beds. And the government of the day is the NDC government. So there's no conversation around it. They might just get it done. The government should also remember always that no government comes into office in vacuum. You come on the back of a manifesto and specific promises made to the people. People queue and vote for you based on specific things you told them you would do. It's time for this government to step back a bit. They seem a little overwhelmed, but there's still time. They should step back. They should review their approach. They should look at the issues and go back to basics. Basics meaning that they should go back to the things they promised the people of this country they will do, and make sure that they simply deliver on them. The ones they cannot deliver, they should have a conversation with the people and at least be magnanimous enough to admit that they probably may have overpromised or didn't think through, and see if they can review it and the people will accept. But this attempt to gaslight, deflect, and always make excuses for these cluelessness is becoming a bit frustrating, and we beg them.
Thank you.
Even if there'll be a change in government, we don't want the government destroyed, the country destroyed before the new government, and so they should just get to work. Thank you.
Honorable, 60 seconds.
Let me tell Ghanaians that the government of the NDC is working very hard to ensure that we get this no bed syndrome issue solved. But we need a serious structural reforms in terms of the metropolis. The metropolis, we can't have Agenda 111 hospital with 90-something beds for big constituencies. A constituency with over 500,000 people, you go and put 90-bed capacity hospital there. We have to think of different type of hospital for the metropolis, while the rural districts can have the Agenda 111. Right. That is what I was implying.
But if you go and put the same number of beds in those communities he was talking of, it's just like a drop of water in the mighty ocean.
Well, let's be the last conversation we're having on this subject matter, because sometimes it doesn't help. It cuts aspersions, and it cuts down on our integrity as a country and our willingness to address basic challenges of our people. Government must just be up doing expedite actions on Agenda 1 hospitals and solve this problem once and for all.
Right. So thank you very much, my viewers, and thank you to my panel. I'll not be able to mention all their names, but Seth, to Miracles, to Honorable Anaba, to Powers. Thank you very much. To you yourself also for joining us, and those who sent the messages. We are going for a live transmission, but today is the final funeral rites for our two gentlemen who died in the helicopter crash. Captain Frank Amweni Donko and his brother Elijah Ufori Donko. The funeral is at the forecourt of the State House. It started at 8 o'clock. So if you are available, you can just pass through and condole with the family. We pray their souls to rest in perfect peace. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a wonderful Saturday. See you next week.
Current Agenda was brought to you by Bank of Africa, the African bank with global reach. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. And National Petroleum Authority, NPA, where customer care meets excellence.